Hello, and today I'll be creating my football all-time starting 11. Our team will be in the 4-1-2-1-2 diamond formation, the one that Zinedine Zidane famously used during his three-peat Champions League run coaching Real Madrid. Now, these are all players that I've gotten to watch live or have watched lots of highlights on or have heard amazing stories about. So, for example, if you don't see Alfredo Di Stefano, don't get mad. I just haven't heard much about him and don't even know much about him. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, in goal, I ended up going for Manuel Neuer. I know some people will see Gianluigi Buffon or even Iker Casillas. I think they are definitely top 5 to 3 in that range for me. But I think Neuer is, for me, like widely the best because of the way he revolutionized goalkeeping, being that sweeper keeper who comes out of his box to clean up attacks higher up the pitch, and the success he had with Bayern and the German national team, winning that World Cup in 2014, and even finishing on a Ballon d'Or podium with Messi and Ronaldo in that same year as a goalie too. Just special, man. And at left back, I went for Roberto Carlos. I think this is a pretty common pick for most people. I think most people would agree. I feel like some people, especially people who have watched the Premier League for a long time, would say Ashley Cole because he's better defensively. But I think Roberto Carlos is so good at attacking that it almost just cancels out. I mean, the left foot he had, my goodness, bro. It was like a bullet and a wand because the amount of bend he could generate on it, plus the amount of power and just straight knuckle he could generate by just putting his laces straight through the ball. It was just special. Like, I think Roberto Carlos is maybe the best Brazilian fullback of all time, which is not an easy decision given the amazing fullbacks they've had in their history. Next up, I feel like this is a pretty self-explanatory pick. Not much has to be said. Paolo Maldini, for me, the best defender of all time. He has insane longevity. I mean, he played from when he was 16 to when he was 40. Captained Italy to a World Cup at 39 or 40, something crazy like that. Won 5 UCLs across 3 decades. He played in some of modern football's greatest club sides, i.e., the late 80s Milan team and that 2003 star-studded AC Milan team that won the Champions League final against Juventus. And he will be this team's captain, just like he was for Milan for so many years, because I know he has the leadership and just the heart to fight for the badge. So he will be our captain. Next to him will be Franz Beckenbauer. Now, I know he's a bit of an old head, but though just similar to Nora, the way he revolutionized the game, you just know his story because of how the game changed because of him. He was known as a libero. Obviously, he's a defender, so he's brilliant defensively, but also incredibly technically gifted going forward as well too. His passing and one thing he's known for is driving with the ball forward, which obviously we see more of that from center backs now because of him, because of Beckenbauer. And he won a World Cup as well too, was outstanding in that tournament in 1974 for Germany. I think he might have even finished as the top 3 players in the tournament as a center back, which is pretty crazy. And alongside him on his right will be Philip Lahm. Now, I know many will say Dani Alves, who I love Dani Alves. He was so close to making it in my team. But I feel he has a bit more frailties in his games, especially defensively, while I feel like Philip Lahm was just the most sound player you will ever see, honestly, at that right back position. And I just feel like his longevity and the way he adapted from being a high flying fullback, which many people don't realize with Lahm, was when he was similar to what Carlos was for Real Madrid. He occupied an entire right flank for Bayern when he was younger. But then as his pace tended to go, he adapted from a high flying fullback to an inverted one, recycling possession, helping Bayern start attacks, playing more defensively, and he influenced Bayern so much during those years. Obviously, that Champions League run, he was outstanding. He played for Bayern for 17 years. I believe he's from their academy as well, too. Between Cafu, Dani Alves, and Lam was very close. I think Dani Alves was a really close second. I think Dani Alves is maybe their third or fourth best fullback of all time, and he's not even this team, which is pretty crazy. So, yeah, I give Lam my right back spot, and he is going to be leading this team. Even though he won't be the captain, he will be leading and telling everyone where to go, especially that midfield and the defense. In front of the defense, sitting right in front of them, will be our number 6, who in this case is going to be Xavi. Now, I know he maybe is more of a number 8, but I just think Xavi has to be in this team. The heartbeat of both Barca and Spain's midfield, who, in my opinion, are the greatest club side of all time, or at least in my lifetime, and the best international side of my lifetime, dare I say even of all time. And I could hear shouts for Busquets, Kante, Lothar Matthäus. I think they're all unbelievable players, but I think Xavi at his peak, I'm talking about that 08-09 season, just trounces all of them, to be honest. Even though Kante in his peak, 16, 17, I love him. And Lothar Matthäus for Bayern was a demon, bro, honestly. But yeah, I think Xavi just has to be in this team for what he did for football, honestly. The way he was maybe not the most athletic, like for example, we see in midfielders now. He's not maybe a Jude Bellingham, Morgan Rogers. He's not of that ilk of midfielder. But in terms of just being able to see things before it happens, having the pattern and the panorama on your brain, I think Xavi is second to none in terms of midfielders, pure midfielders in football history in that regard. So I put Xavi as our number 6. Joining him in that midfield trio will be Zinedine Zidane. Zizou, the Frenchman. Similar to all of these midfielders, actually, you just don't use stats to judge Zidane. I mean, you use your eyes. I mean, that roulette that he just trademarked, honestly. Whenever I see that skill move or use it, I just think of Zinedine Zidane. So, yeah, I mean, what he did in that Champions League final, that volley against Leverkusen, maybe the best Champions League final goal of all time. I think it probably is. Obviously, that World Cup final, the headers that he scored, how brilliant of a footballer he was. The big moments, you could always count on Zidane to come through. And just his sheer elegance, he was just a treat to watch. And he has to be in this team for me. He's just too good. Maybe the best midfielder of all time, Zinedine Zidane. Joining him in right central midfield will be Andres Iniesta. Iniesta, I just feel like this pick almost speaks for itself. World Cup winner, Champions League winner, 2 trebles with Barcelona. I believe he's the only player ever to be man of the match in a Euro final, World Cup final, Champions League final, something crazy like that. Like ridiculous, honestly. Similar to Zidane, you just watch him during a game. That La Croquetas, the vision, the passing, the dribbling, the intricacy, honestly, I always, obviously they're both in this team, but I always thought Iniesta was a level above Xavi because I feel like he could do what Xavi did, but he just had an extra, magic to his game where he had that match-winning ability, with one through ball, with one run, with one long shot, with one goal, anything, just set pieces, anything. I feel like he was just a bit more match-winning in terms of it compared to Xavi at least. Yeah, but I mean, obviously they're both in this team, and they're both form 2/3 of the greatest midfield trio of all time. So, yeah, let's move on to the cam of this team, the tip right behind the 2 strikers, and it's gonna be Lionel Messi. Now I know he's not a typical number 10, a la Baggio, a la Ozil, but I mean, he played as a false 9 against Real Madrid all those years in the Mourinho Pep era, and he just wreaked havoc on them. And for me, he's the best dribbler of all time, best playmaker and passer of all time, and one of the 3 best finishers and goal scorers of all time. So he will be the cam, and he'll be the exclusive set piece taker of a certain someone coming next. And to be honest, he's going to have a lot of freedom to move around where he wants. Like he could drift into pockets to get the ball, just like he did during his peak, which he will be in his peak, by the way, in this team. This is a hypothetical team if every single player was in their peak. That's why you see these specific jerseys. These jerseys are from their peak seasons, in my opinion at least. So we have 14-15 Messi, for example, which in my opinion was his most complete year, arguably with 18-19. It was really a toss-up because Messi has 5 different primes, it feels like. So, yeah, I went for 14-15. And our left striker, I feel like you could really interchange these two in terms of size, but our left striker is going to be Cristiano Ronaldo. For me, the second best player I have seen in my lifetime, definitely the second best player I've ever seen in my lifetime. Adapted from a dazzling winger at United, really. You could mistake him for being Brazilian at that time, bro. The skills, the pace, the flair, just everything. But he was a bit erratic those days. You know, he wasn't consistent. It was frustrating almost because you knew he had talent, but felt like he wasn't maximizing it. You know, he didn't have that output. But then he just became a sheer goal scoring machine at Madrid, and his success and longevity speaks for itself. And he will be sharing the name on the back of his shirt with a certain Brazilian. That's right. To round out this team, we have Ronaldo Nazario. I mean, a lot of people are going to be saying, "Where's Dino?" I mean, I just can't fit it. I just can't feel like I can fit him into this team, to be honest. But, anyways, Ronaldo Nazario, you could argue that without injuries, if he had stayed healthy throughout, let's say, his whole career, it's his mid-30s, he would be the second best, or dare I say, even the greatest player of all time, and he would be challenging Messi for sure. What he did as a kid, as a 21-year-old at FC Barcelona, was ridiculous. Winning the Ballon d'Or, I believe, in 1997, the youngest player to ever win it at 21, and winning it again 5 years later when everyone thought he was finished after so many knee injuries. He came back in that World Cup and carried Brazil to that win, sliding two past Oliver Kahn in the final as well too. Ronaldo Nazario was just a special player. R9, as obviously as they call him. Yeah, he was honestly just a complete striker. I feel like maybe a lot of people I've heard, like Clarence Seedorf, for example, said he's the most complete player of all time and the best player of all time. So yeah, I just think if he had been able to maintain what we'd seen from him in that short period of time throughout his whole career, he'd probably be the second best player of all time quite easily. Like, for sure, I think he'd be the second best. And yeah, that is my 11. As I said again, every single player is in their peak. So we have 13-14 Neuer, 2014 Neuer, 74 Beckenbauer, 2011 to 2013 Lahm, where him and Alves were the best right backs in the world, and I think Lahm was overall the best right back in the world due to his prolific ability on both sides of the ball. 2001, 2002 Roberto Carlos, 08, 09 Xavi, where he was just controlling games for Barca, Iniesta in 09, 10, where he was arguably the best midfielder in the world, Zinedine Zidane in 97, 98, that year where he ended up winning the Ballon d'Or. That year for Juventus, he was outstanding. They had a great team, by the way, with the likes of Del Piero. And Messi, 14, 15, like I said before. Ronaldo, 11, 12. I feel like that was the pinnacle of Ronaldo because we saw the Man United winger of old, and we saw the Real Madrid clinical finishing as we would see later on in his Real Madrid career. And Ronaldo Nazario, that season he had at Barcelona, 47 goals in all competitions, which was their single highest goal tally until Messi broke it. I don't know in what year. And yeah, that is my team. Let me know down below in the comments. Would you have put Dino, Mateus, Baresi, Nesta, Cafu, Dani Alves, Buffon, Casillas? Would you have put any of these players in? I don't know, just names on the top of my head. Would you have put them in? Let me know in the comments, and I would really love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video.